Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our songwriting workshop. Welcome to lesson number 3, part 1. Quick tips songwriting. Say one thing. If you are writing song about mercy, do not introduce the subject of love. Save that for another song. If your lyrics speak about the goodness of God, then don't speak about impending judgment. Stick tightly to your subject. Wrap your words like skin around it. You know, a famous composer, Bob Kilpatrick, who wrote the worship song, "In My Life, Lord, Be Glorified," he stated, "There are only 5 notes to the melody of the chorus and only 7 words in the lyrics. It is a simple prayer. Had I also talked about the power of God or His great love, I would have diminished the power of the song. I am of the opinion that when you say 2 things in a song, you cut the power of the song in half." So just like in prose or public speaking, a powerful message is a focused message. So keep it simple and say only one thing. Basic steps in the creative process. We will discover the importance of the cardinal rule that we have talked about from lesson number 2. So I need to explain to you the creative process involved in songwriting so you may have a better idea on how to express your thoughts in song. So there are only 5 processes in songwriting, and this is based on the book by Sheila Davis. Now, I borrowed the words on her book because she has a book on lyric writing and she described the creative process. And I think it is a very good description. So I am using mostly her ideas and I will be explaining them one by one to you. So first on the creative process is we have the word activate. So how does one activate the creative process? Now, if you are a musician, how do you activate or let the juice come out? Maybe one of the ways to do it is you jam with your instrument. For example, for you to get something inside, you have to tweak or touch something inside you. For you to be able to do it is that you need to jam. It is just like you're practicing. Parang nagpa-practice ka lang. You touch something inside you. So, if you're playing a piano, one of the ways of activating is to just keep on playing the piano. If you're playing a guitar, then you keep on playing it. Okay, so it's just like practicing. Sometimes is you have a melody and that kind of melody sticks with you. Or if you have a chord progression, that chord progression grabs your attention. So it is important for you to really practice. Okay, so now if you say that your skills are limited in playing the instruments, I mean, if you don't know how to play any instruments, you can use your innate instrument, which is your voice. Make a goal to develop those skills. You practice and you mean business with it. It is really important to remember that the major part in the creative process is to discover ideas through jamming and playing your instrument. Then I encourage you to study and learn one. There are many music classes that are available online nowadays, and you can learn instruments from YouTube, okay, from the internet. There are lots of resources that you can find in Google, in the internet, especially YouTube. Okay? So, but if you say that you don't have time to learn new skills or new instruments, then use your voice instead. That cannot be a hindrance for you not to be able to activate, okay? Activate the creative process. Now, next is doodle on a pad. We discussed the importance and the impact of journaling in songwriting from lesson number 1. So, write and keep writing. You keep your mental and spiritual writing muscles in shape. So, don't just talk about writing or imagine yourself writing, but write, and write. When you write, just write. You just let the ideas flow freely. So if you have the principles built into you, they will come out naturally in your writing. So they will serve as safeguards to keep you from writing poor quality stuff. Okay, so doodle on a pad, keep your journals, keep on writing, and just feel free to welcome the ideas that come while you are doodling on your pad. Next, be physically active. Now, how can you possibly write if you are always slumbering? You're always sleepy and lazy. Sometimes we experience sudden insights and potential ideas come while doing, this is based on my experience, doing groceries, riding my bike, walking home, and even watching movies. Though this does not mean that if I am doing these specific activities, all of the ideas will come, but sometimes it just comes to you suddenly when you do not expect it to come. There are some songwriters that choose to activate the process with such activities, just like free writing, doodling, or noodling at an instrument, or any physical activity that you are really fond of doing. Okay? So, activate, you jam your instrument, you doodle on a pad, and be physically active. Okay. So this is how you start a song. This is where it starts now. Okay, there are many ways on how it is done. Can be an idea, a title, a theme, a line, a music motif, an interesting element, a word, a unique structure, a chord progression. But our first approach is that you can build a melody. Okay? So let's consider the tangible elements, and one of the famous and most common element and the most vital element is the melody. Okay? So where do melodies come from? Okay, it can come from a fragment or a melodic fragment. It can come out of a chord progression. It can come from the feel of words and also the influence of scale tones and intervals. Now we will focus more on the fragment and the chord progression. Later we will explain the feel of words as we go along. We will start with a melodic motif. A melodic fragment, a fragment that never leaves your head. Now, can you give me a fragment? Now, what is a fragment? A melodic fragment is any 3 or 4 notes that sticks on your head. It never leaves on your head. This time, I encourage you to pause the video And let's consider this guide questions. Okay? So we will have this step by step. Okay, number one, you think of a random fragment. Okay? A fragment is any notes, three or four notes that sticks on your head. Okay, so pause the video and think of a random fragment. Now, if you're done, let me show you my example. Mm-hmm. Dun dun dun. Okay, so let's try playing it on the keyboard. Okay, example, this is our random melodic fragment. Now, there are a couple of ways for us to accomplish our melody using this fragment. Okay, number one, so we should think of a random fragment. Okay, so this is a random fragment. There are many ways expanding something like that fragment. So the next question is, when using that fragment, what is your mood? Okay, so are you happy or sad? What is your mood when you said that fragment or when you hum that kind of fragment? So to inform you, in discovering and making a melody, one must understand the basic qualities of chords. Okay, so there are two types of qualities of chords, the basic types. First, when you say it is happy or masaya, what is the quality of a triad? Anyone? Do you have any idea? Yes? Okay, it's a major chord. This is very basic. And when you say it is sad or malungkot, it is a minor chord. Okay? So it is the way that you put these majors and minors together that creates your own feeling. What is your mood while humming or while playing this? Okay, as for me, I feel more optimistic. I feel peaceful and a little bit of hopeful. So there's no negative or any sad feelings from this fragment. It is very important for you to know and determine what kind of mood your fragment is. Okay? Because later on we will know what kind of uh, keys that are we going to use in our chords if we know the mood of the fragment that we are playing. So for me, this is more of a positive and a good vibes and a hopeful fragment. So earlier, based on the example that I gave you, the fragment that I gave you, I said that my fragment is happy or positive or peaceful, something that uplifts you. Okay? So when you hear that fragment, what tonality or tonal center that you can hear on that fragment? So if it is on a major, which our fragment is, then you have a couple of chords that you can think of. That is major. Okay, like C major, D major, G major, A major. Okay, so if you know what I mean, if you are playing piano or if you're playing guitar, I know these things are familiar with you. Okay, so based on my fragment, what is the center of tonality or key of your fragment? Okay, so let me show you further. So I think this fragment is on a major scale. Okay, let's try. Let's try to find the chords from this fragment. Okay? Okay, so this is our chord out of this fragment. So we can have a G chord. So this is a G major chord and this is a G minor chord. Okay, so this sounds like a sad chord, a melancholic chord. So we will not use this chord since our fragment is a little bit of happy and positive. So then we will use a major chord. So we have G chord. Okay, so one way that you can improve your melodic fragment is to build a motif. A motif is a short succession of notes producing a single impression, a brief melodic or rhythmic formula out of which longer passages are developed. Okay, so when you do a motif and it is a short motif, there are two main directions that you can go to. Okay, so in computer language, we can use 0 and 1. Okay, it can be the main motif and the contrasting or counter motif. In music, we can also use that kind of illustration or that kind of technique. So, example, so we have 0, that is our first fragment, and 1 is our second fragment. Okay? So, going back to our fragment earlier, so this is a happy and a positive mood, and this is our 0. Okay? So for us to complete the line or complete a motif, then we need to have another fragment that would supplement this existing fragment that we have. Okay, so this is 0, and then we can have 1, okay, or the next fragment to complete the motif. So let's try. 0, and then okay, so this is 0 again, then 1. Okay, so this can be the start of your motif. Okay, so let's try to put chords on the 0 and 1 fragments that we had. Okay, let's try. Okay, again, try to listen. So 0, then 1. Okay, one more time. 1. So using this technique, the 0 and the 1, we can create a one-line melody, okay? We can easily find the right fragments based on what we feel, okay? So since I am happy with the fragment that I have and not sad, so I'm using a major scale. So I am on G, so all the chords that I am playing is on the G major scale, okay? So all are common chords. So if I were to finish the whole motif of the song or the whole melody of the song using the 0 and the 1, okay, it will sound like this. So 0, 1, then 0 again, then 1, okay, then 0 again, then 1, zero, sorry, then 1. There you have it. So this is your main motif. This is 0, then 1. This is your main motive. Then you make a contrasting motive out of your main motive. So contrast. Okay, so again, main motive, contrast. Then you repeat. Main, contrast. So you can do many ways. There are many possibilities for you to have a good melody. So this one that I have, this is a very simple example of melody. So if you want a big contrast on your main motive, so you can have a different set of fragments, okay? So this is my main motive. And then if I decided to make a different kind of contrasting motive, or if I would make a total different direction from my main motive, it will sound like this. So main motive, then contrasting motive. Okay. So earlier the main motive and the contrasting motive sounds alike, you know? So there are a slight changes on your contrasting motive on the end. But if you really want to have a separate direction to your contrasting motive, then you can do it likewise. Okay, so we just have another set of fragments. Make sure that it is different from your main motive. Okay, so if my main motive, its direction is going upwards like this, so it's going up. So if you want a total contrast from your main motive, and then you change the direction of your melody. So you can have that. So this is my main motive. And then counter motive. Okay, so let's try to listen with our chords together. Okay, so that sounds more better, you know, compared to earlier that we just did slight changes on the counter motive. Okay, so earlier let's try to compare it. Okay, so we had this first motive, or we had this main motive and counter motive earlier. Then we just repeated the same fragment. And then a slight changes to the end. And then, okay, so this is the main motive and the counter motive earlier. So let's compare to the new counter motive that we had, okay? Main motive. Then the new counter motive. Let's try to experiment more on our fragment earlier. Okay, so remember, our fragment sounds like this. So let's try to have a different kind of mood. We will try to create an upbeat kind of music, okay, using this fragment. Okay, so let's try if we can make it. 2, 3, go. It doesn't need to be too difficult if you're trying to find a fragment. In worship songwriting, you don't make it difficult. You make it actually easy for the ears. Okay, so there you go. You have this fragment if you recognize it. Okay, so remember this. So this is our fragment earlier. So what I did is just experiment on it and establish my group first and my chord progression. Actually, I used a basic chord progression which is G, D, E minor, and C, you know. So I just repeated the whole progression and that's how I stimulate my creativity. Let's try to have a different approach on our fragment. Let's try to use minor, okay? So this time, it will be sad, it will be dark, it will be sorrowful, okay? So, using our fragment, let's try to have a slight changes on the note, okay? So from this note, we will transfer to this note, okay? So that it can be a minor sounding kind of fragment, okay? If you know what I mean. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. So this is our fragment. So let's experiment how can we get the minor and the dark feeling of this fragment. Okay. So yeah, listen to this. There you have it. Minor fragment, and then the mood, it's really dark. You're lonely, so you can do a lot of possibilities with the fragment that you're creating, you're trying to create. So yeah, jam with your instrument and do not hesitate to welcome the ideas while you are jamming with your instrument, okay? So any idea, any piece of fragment, there are no limitations. There are no limitations when it comes to melody making. So keep on trying, keep on experimenting, and if you feel that it sounds good, then try to record yourself and try to play with it and try to worship with it. One way also for you to improve your fragment is you use hooks. Okay, so keep repeating your fragment. It is one way of making a person LSSing your song. Okay, so that's how important your fragment is. Okay, so now some start with a melodic fragment, Some start with a lyrical phrase, poem, straight from the scripture, and some with a good title. Now, in the creative process and under the activate process, we will work on the lyrical phrase. Okay? Lyrical phrase, those are words, ideas, theme, feelings, and anything that expresses your idea, and you build up out of that idea. So, for example, let's have God, you're so good, or why did you save a sinner like me? Or let's say, I just want to be with you. Okay, so because once you have those ideas, these lyrical phrases or a lyrical phrase, you build up on that idea. So it's very logical, saying, I just want to be with you. So once you said that, you know, it's very logical to state the reasons why you want to be with God or you want to be with someone. You say or you enumerate the things that you want to have together with Him, or you say that who you want to be with. Okay, so you say ideas around the message or that phrase. That is the most logical way to think of how you can straighten up your words. So you structure it in a logical sequence, a very understandable sequence, or in a story type of sequence. So with your experiences along with it. So guys, once again, this is worship music. So the easier it is to understand, the better. Okay? So this is the same principle also in writing popular music. So any lyrical idea. So if you have the phrase already, there are guide questions that we can consider. First, we should consider number one, before putting anything into the phrase, before putting melody into it, how do you want your phrase to be delivered? Okay. What kind of mood? Is it in a happy manner or in a sad manner? What kind of style will you use? Is in a contemporary manner, in a jazzy manner, in a traditional manner, in a rock and roll manner, or in an emotional melodramatic manner? Okay, so I will try to have my example from the phrase that I said earlier. Uh, I just want to be with you. Okay, so that is my idea. Now, going back to the guide questions. So, the way that I said my lyrical phrase is, I just want to be with you. I just want to be with you. So, that is how I want to deliver my phrase. And my mood is, it's a little bit of sad because the feeling of you are longing to someone and that you need him or her to comfort you. So in short, you are lonely. You need someone to comfort you and to be with you. So that's what my feeling is, my mood is. So it is in a sad manner. And then what kind of style will I use? Is it in a traditional, or is it upbeat, or is it emotional? So I think I would choose, since this is sad, so I will intentionally have an emotional approach, okay, or a melodramatic approach. So consider the intangible elements from the building blocks of the song. Remember the cardinal rule, making all the elements work together to enhance the feeling of the message. So that is the most important thing to consider, the cardinal rule. So when you say a word or a phrase, then it is important for you to know the mood, the style of your message or your song. Since you have the message already, the lyrical phrase, then consider to follow the cardinal rule. Okay, so next, how will you state or say the words? I just want to be with you. I just want to be with you. Okay, so whatever it is that you are going to do and whatever emotions that you want to relay, through I just want to be with you, it is very important because the first time you say it and sing it, and that's it. Okay, that's it. You just gave the total idea of the song. So because it already dictates the particular feeling that you want to relate. Okay. If you have your phrase, so the first time that you said that phrase, and that's it, that is the feeling that you want to relate already. Try to ponder and remember the way that you've said your phrase the first time. I am informing you that whatever language you use, it's either English, Tagalog, or Bisaya, or Ilocano, Ilonggo, or Chabacano, you have to keep on saying it. And you have to be true to the correct inflection also. You understand? You cannot say, I just want to be with you, or I just want to be with you. Okay, so practically the words already give away the melody. It is just an extension. Okay, so let's try to say it one more time. I just want to be with you. 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 Okay, so practically, the words already give away the melody. If you keep on saying it and saying it, then eventually the melody will come out. Okay, so the melody is just an extension of your phrase. So, is there any other way to say this? Okay, I just want to be with you. No, it's not, I just want to be with you, or it's not, I just want to be with you. It's not a statement. Okay, so the way that I want it to be delivered is that you're saying it as if you are begging. You say as if that you know, you are pleading. You're asking him to be with you. So you can imagine the feeling from how it is being said or stated. So the rhythm can be felt on the way that it is being said. Now, so if you'll try to do this, I just want to be with you. Okay, example, that is my melody. Okay, so let's try saying it again and putting melody on it. Okay, I just want to be with you. So the stress is on the want. Okay, I just want to be with you. Since I want this fragment to be emotional, to express the feeling of a deep longing. So let's try to have this melody. I just want to be with you. Okay, let's say that's my melody. I just want to be with you. That's a little bit low. Let's try to uh, raise a little higher. I just want to be with you. Uh, I just want to be with you. Okay. So you can imagine the feeling from how it is being said and stated. Okay? So the rhythm can also be felt on the way that is being said. So for example, I just want to be with you. I just want to be with you. So let's say, to be with you. Or I just want to be with you. I just want to be with you. Then let's have another thought that would supplement our phrase. So we can have, so we like to be with in His presence. So I would like to be in God's presence. So let's say, okay, so always in your presence. Okay, always in your presence. Let's have another phrase. Presence. Let's have the thought of longing for your embrace. Longing for your embrace. Let's say sweet embrace. Longing for your sweet embrace. And I just want to be with you. Oh, so how can we fit the phrase? Because I really want to repeat our main phrase, our main lyrical phrase, I just want to be with you. So we can, let's go back to longing for your sweet embrace. Longing for your sweet embrace. I want to be with you. There you go. So I just want to be with you. Always in your presence. Longing for your sweet embrace. I want to be with you. I just want to be with you. Always in your presence. Longing for your sweet embrace. I want to be with you. Okay, so there you go. So I just want to be with you. Now, if you divide this into two ideas, I just want to be with you, right? So they are separated and you put them together. I just want to be with you. That's why what we did in our melody is we had two motifs, okay? The main motif and the contrasting motif. If you notice it, we used the first line as our main motif. I just want to be with you. So this is our zero, okay? This is our main motif. And the contrasting motif, always in your presence. Okay, so again, zero, longing for your sweet embrace. So this line, it is just the repetition of your main motif or your zero, but it has a little changes or a little modification on the later part of your melody. And after is the contrasting motif or your one, which is I want to be with you. Okay, so this is really clear that the mood of the melody is really emotional. It is slow and is melodramatic. So I'll give you a tip when it comes to, you want your song to be emotional, to be more melodramatic. I tell you, the farther the notes are, the jumps make it more emotional. Like this. I just want to be with you, always in your presence, longing for your sweet embrace. I want to be with you. So if the notes are close to each other, they are not as emotional. They are more freewheeling. So just like this, if you want your song to be more melodramatic, emotional, then try to experiment melodies that has big jumps, So from this line, longing for your sweet, longing for your sweet embrace, di ba? So that line can be a great way for you to express your emotion. So try to experiment on your melodies, and for you to be more emotional, then go for the jumps, okay, on your melody. Just to give you an idea, this is close notes, okay, or stepwise melody. I just want to be with you, always in your presence. I just want or longing for your sweet embrace. I want to be with you. Okay, so this is an example of a stepwise or a close notes. Next example, I will show you, let's say, a contemporary style, okay, or modern style. Let's have. I just want to be with you, and always in your presence. I just want to be with you and feel your sweet embrace. I just want to be, I just want to be with you. I just want to be, want to be with you. Okay, I just wanna na 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 na. Okay. Next example, let's have. Okay, let's try Emotional. Okay, let's try an emotional approach, and we will try to have leaps and jumps to our melody. I just want to be with you, always in or dwelling in your presence and feeling your embrace. Feeling your embrace. And I just want to be with you. I just want to be with you, always in or dwelling in your presence, feeling your embrace. I just want to be with you. There you go. A melodic line can clearly convey your emotions. Sometimes it is a title, a concept, a story, and then they build up in these elements. Some songwriters, they explore on other elements for them to achieve the expression of their own songs. Like concepts or stories or characters that would shape their entire song. So let's say for this example that I have, this is an original song from one of our students last year, and the title of her song is David's Cry. The song speaks of the faith and the confidence that David displayed to the Lord in spite of the life and death situation that he is having. So let's watch this.
When I'm grieving, let me lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. In one of my morning devotions, I got into 2 Samuel chapter 24, where David committed a sin against the Lord, and God made him choose between three punishments: 3 years of famine, 3 months of war, or 3 days of plague. And David was desperate in the situation, and he said this, that if he should fall, he wants to fall into the hands of God, for he is great and merciful. Because even if David was being punished, he knew that in difficulty, the Lord is still merciful. That he shouldn't be worried, even in the midst of punishment, because he knows that the one who is giving him the punishment loves him so much.
So if you want to watch the song, then I will just give you the link from YouTube. Okay, so this is our activity for this session. Okay, so number one, build a melodic fragment and develop it into a motive. Okay, make sure to have a main and contrasting motive. It does not need to be accompanied by an instrument, but if you're able to, then it is much better. Okay, so number one assignment, number one activity, build a melodic fragment. Number two, build a lyrical phrase and develop a verse and a chorus out of it. Okay, I'm just asking you a verse and a chorus. Okay, incorporate melodies after, okay, on your lyrics, and as much as possible, you make your melodies as simple as possible. Okay? Make it simple and logical to the ears. Apply the things that you have just learned from this lesson, and please don't forget the cardinal rule. Okay? So thank you very much for listening in our lesson 3 part 1. See you next session in our lesson 3 part 2. God bless us.